Hi everyone, I just want to say thank you so much for all your support through this last week. I know I have not put up my birth vlog, and I just want to apologize for that right off the get-go here. I have so much footage, honestly, and it's a little hectic me trying to edit this video and taking care of a newborn for the first time. But what I want to do today is just kind of explain to you my birth story, because I feel like in the birth vlog there's going to be so much that's going to be missing from that story. Now, before I get into that, I just want to let you guys know, if you want to know our little girl's name, if you want to see her, you can actually follow me on Instagram. That's Bethany.Fontaine, and you can also follow me on Snapchat, and my name is Beth Fontaine on Snapchat. I will have those that information in the description below, so if you guys want to look at that, go to my Instagram and my Snapchat. I have tons of pictures and videos that I've been posting this past week. And I just honestly want to apologize to you guys for not updating you. This week has been absolutely incredible. I've been taking so much footage, and I just have to catch up and put out so many videos for you guys already. So keep your eyes peeled out for that. So I'm going to start at the very beginning. So it was May 30th, and I was anticipating my doctor's appointment the next day. And so I had a OB appointment that past week, and I was at 0 effacement, 0 centimeters dilated, and I was really looking forward to knowing if I had progressed at all, since my Braxton Hicks contractions were getting pretty strong. So I went to my OB appointment on the 31st, and my doctor checked me and nothing was happening. I was 0% effaced, 0 dilated, and I was so discouraged. I had such a hard day that day, and I was just like, I am finished. I was 39 weeks and 2 days, and I was just absolutely discouraged. I was so done and so ready to not be pregnant anymore. So that night, I went to bed and I just prayed, and I was just so desperate and just so real and raw with God, and I was just like, I don't want to be pregnant anymore. I'm really discouraged, God. Like, I just want this baby to come. And so incredibly, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm woken up, and I'm thinking they're just strong Braxton Hicks at this point. And so I just stay in bed, and I'm finding that they're coming every 10 minutes or so, and it's a little bit more painful, and they're a little bit more painful in my pelvic area. And so I just kind of watch, and I'm still awake laying in bed here. And so I get up to go to the bathroom at about 5 o'clock in the morning, and I notice that I'm bleeding, and this wasn't like bloody show, it was bright red, and I was concerned. And so I woke Luke up, and I just told him what was happening. And then I called the health line, and so they just recommended that I go straight to the hospital to get checked. And so we packed up all of our things, because we had no idea if we'd be having this baby on June 1st. And so we packed up all of our things. I'm so thankful I had a list out, written out for all the things we needed to get together last minute, or else I think I would have been in a complete, just absolute mess. Like, I'd be so, like, just crazy. But I'm so thankful for that, because we grabbed everything we needed, and we drove to the hospital. So I called my mom, and we called Luke's mom, and we were just letting them know what was going on, because my parents live about 5.5 hours away. So if I was to go into labor, they would want to leave right away. So basically, we got to the hospital. I got out of the car, and this is so funny to me, because of all days, this happened. It happened this day, and I was getting out of the car, and I dropped my phone, and the screen completely went black, and I couldn't use my phone. My phone was totally broken, and I was like so freaked out. I was just like so mad. I'm like, of all days for me to drop my phone and break it, today's the day. Anyway, so we get into emergency, and we're escorted up to an assessment room in labor and delivery. And so we're waiting in there, and I get checked. They're just trying to figure out where this bleeding is coming from. It was just a small amount well, it was kind of a gush of blood. It wasn't a whole lot, but it didn't happen again after that. So they were just kind of thinking, oh, maybe it's just the start of labor. They checked to see where the bleeding was coming from, and nothing was showing up. And so they checked me, and they said that I was a 1. So that was good, and that was encouraging. And so what they did is they came rolling in with an ultrasound machine just to see where the baby was at. And so, and I was totally thinking like, oh, I'm going to be sent home, because at this point, like, my contractions were about 7 minutes apart when we first got there. And so I'm probably gonna be sent home to labor at home. That's what I was thinking. And so they're doing the ultrasound on my stomach, and the doctor is looking a bit concerned. And I looked at the screen, and when he was down in my pelvic area, he wasn't seeing the head. And I instantly knew something was not right. And I just burst into tears. It was really tough because I knew that she was breech. And it's hard because my doctor had told me the entire pregnancy that she was head down. And since I didn't get that third ultrasound to determine what position she was in, I was an undiagnosed breech baby the day that I gave birth to her, which was a complete surprise and so unexpected. And I wasn't really devastated, but I think I was just really shocked. And so that changed everything. And so basically I was not able to have a natural delivery, and I was not willing to take the risk of my own health and the baby's health just so I could have that natural delivery. And so basically what happened, I had 3 more ultrasounds, and just to make sure that the baby was butt down. And so if they went into the operating room and then to find out she was head down, it would have been completely unnecessary. But sure enough, she was breech, and she was a frank breech, so that means her feet were up by her head. So it would have been an even more difficult delivery if I was to do it naturally. And so at this point, my contractions had become more frequent, more painful. They were becoming at least 5 minutes apart. They checked me another time because they were going to schedule my C-section for 4:00 p.m. And so this was around, I'd say about 9 o'clock. So we were there for 3 hours. And so they checked me one more time, and I went up from a 1 to a 3 and now to a 5. I was 5 centimeters dilated, and I was progressing very quickly. And so they did not want this baby to come out naturally. And so what happened was they had scheduled my C-section for 4 p.m., but it ended up being that I would head to the OR at about 11:45. And so everything happened very quickly. It happened it was like a whirlwind. It was absolutely insane. I was not expecting, our baby's birth to be so unexpected and so uncertain. But this is I'm so thankful that I did not make a birth plan in the sense of what I wanted, and just I was more just being, I just want a healthy baby, and whatever means that she needs to get here, we would just go with the flow. And so I'm really thankful that we were more open to just going with the flow, because I think if I had a birth plan, I would be even more inclined to push for that natural delivery. And I'm just really thankful that in those moments I was just like, no, let's just do a C-section. I want the least risk as possible. Anyway, so I rolled into the OR at about 11:45. So we were just waiting to be prepped. We were waiting for the anesthesiologist to come in and give me the spinal. And I was really nervous about that, just because I heard it was really painful. So we waited for a while, and honestly, I just want to say this, our nurses were awesome. They were so great and so supportive. And with an undiagnosed breech, this never happens. This is a very rare thing that in this day and age just does not happen. And so the nurses were very, very wonderful to us, and just so supportive, and just made us feel so welcome. And it was just amazing. So we actually never got to go into a labor and delivery room. We just went from assessment room straight into the OR, just because they needed to get this baby out as soon as possible. And so we waited for the anesthesiologist, and she actually had a student with her, and I was a little bit nervous. And so she put the freezing in, which wasn't actually too bad. And I was actually having a contraction as this was happening. So I was just focusing on my breathing. And once that went in, the freezing took effect. I actually didn't feel a thing. And this student actually poked me about 3 times to get the spinal in, but I didn't feel a thing, thank goodness. So this was the weirdest feeling ever, where I felt like there was 1,000 pounds sitting on my legs, and I could feel people touching me, but I couldn't feel it at the same time. It was a very interesting sensation. So basically, I was prepped for surgery, and the doctor came in, and it went very, very smoothly. From start to finish, I think it was about 40 minutes, the entire operation. And so, yeah, there was a lot of tugging, a lot of pulling, and I think at the end, before she was about to come out, that's when it was probably the most intense. And Luke was there by my side. He was just holding my hand and just talking to me, and I just told him, like, I was completely awake. I didn't need any oxygen. I was completely fine. I was completely aware. I didn't feel nauseous. I just felt the sensation of them getting this baby out, which was so interesting, but was not painful whatsoever. But Luke was such an amazing support in that time for me. So it went really well, and Luke really wanted to see her born. And so when they said it's time for him to stand up and look, he actually got to see them pull her out of the amniotic sac, which was an absolute, like, such a cool thing to see. And then she was born. She was here. She was born at 12:45 p.m. on June 1st. And she weighed 8 pounds and 6 ounces, and I cannot believe it. I don't know where I hid this baby, but she was a very healthy size, and she had huge chubby cheeks. And the first thing I said was, "Look at her nose, it's so cute." And I was just so overwhelmed with emotion, and I just started to cry. It was such a beautiful moment that I'll always remember. So they whisked her away onto the assessment table, and they were wiping her down, and everything was good. She was screaming at the top of her lungs, and it was just such a surreal moment. And then Luke got to video that. It was so neat. And then he came back and sat down by me as they brought her over, and they put her on my chest, and we just had that special bonding moment. And then as soon as they were like, okay, we need to finish up here with me, then they got Luke to do skin to skin on the recovery room, which was such a beautiful thing that he got to do that like right away after she was born. So that's just such a special thing that they got to experience together. So as they finished up with me, I was wheeled into a recovery room where we tried breastfeeding for the first time. Of course, she didn't really get anything, but she was definitely looking for it, and it was just such a special bonding moment, skin to skin with her, so soon after birth. So once we were in the recovery room for about an hour, making sure that my vitals were good, everything was good to go. We were wheeled into the mother and baby ward. And so this is where I would have stayed for about 48 hours in the hospital, and where we had people come and visit. And so it's so funny because I had called my parents at about, I think it was about 9 o'clock, saying that, like, okay, like, you guys need to get on the road, like, and get going because she's coming pretty quick. And so but Luke's parents live here in the city with us, and so they were able to be there as soon as possible. And I think they waited about 3.5 hours until they could see me. So it from before I went into the operating room up until I went into my hospital room. And it was such a sweet moment to see them hold her and just get so excited about her. And it's so neat to see just how special grandchildren can be for grandparents, for sure. And about 10 minutes later, my parents arrived as well, so it was absolutely perfect timing. So we spent about 2 days in the hospital, and we took a lot of footage, and a lot of firsts were happening there, and it was just a really special time, and I'm so thankful for the time that we had there. But I was really looking forward to coming home. And so on June 3rd, we made our way home, and it feels so good. It feels so good to be at home with our baby and just experience all these firsts together. It's absolutely surreal that she is here. It's so surreal. I've been talking about this for weeks, but it's absolutely amazing. And I don't know, I feel very laid back. I feel very just blessed and thankful for her little life. And I can't wait to share the birth vlog with you guys. I can't wait to share her first with you guys. And I just want to say thank you again for all your love and support. Me and Luke are so thankful. And it's so funny because the night before she was born, we actually filmed a Q&A video to show you guys and just kind of like where our lives were at. And so I would still like to post that for you guys if you'd like, just in preparation for the birth vlog, if that's okay. But yeah, it's so funny that we were just talking about pregnancy and everything like that, and not even 24 hours later she was born. So that's such a funny thing to me. But yeah, again, thank you guys so much for watching. And yeah, if you want to see our little girl, you want to find out her name, to see how she's doing, everything like that, follow me on Instagram. That's Bethany.Fontaine, and you can follow me on Snapchat, and that's Beth Fontaine. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for liking, commenting. I love all of you guys so much, and we'll see you guys very, very soon. See you later. Bye.